Welcome back to Junior Deputy Dugout Talk. My name is Carter Stein. Today, my guest is Little Rock Catholic head baseball coach Bryan Jones. Welcome, Coach. How are you doing today?
Doing great, Mr. Stein. I appreciate you giving me the opportunity not only to talk about Rocket baseball, but what a program like Junior Deputy can do for the players of Little Rock. So I appreciate the time today.
Hey, you're very welcome, Coach. Why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself?
Yeah, so I'm different than the first two members. I'm originally from Texas. I'm having a few doubts recently. I'm a Texas A&M fan, born and bred, but from Mesquite, Texas, and went to school at Mesquite Poteet High School. Played baseball there for 4 years. Played junior college baseball with the Richland College Thunder Ducks. If you've never seen a Thunder Duck, I encourage you to Google that logo, that mascot. From there, went to Ouachita Baptist University, not knowing, quite frankly, what to expect other than a great education and hopefully some good quality baseball. Met my wife there. The rest is history. I started my college coaching career at Ouachita under then coach Scott Norwood. From there, went to Benton High School with Mark Ballesteri, went to Pulaski Academy with Billy Adams, who was a college friend of mine. From PA, came to Catholic as the assistant coach 10 years ago, was here for 4, left for 1 to be the head baseball coach at Malvern. Missed Catholic incredibly. Malvern was incredibly good to me, but Catholic is my place. Came back as Dustin Struby's assistant here, and just recently made the change to be head baseball coach here at Catholic. My wife, Rebecca, and our 2 children, Dawson, Claire, and Henry, live in Benton, where Rebecca is from. And she ultimately is the reason that I never went back to Texas. So met a girl at Ouachita, and Arkansas was now my home. So that's me in a nutshell. I love baseball. I teach math here at Catholic as well. I teach an honors level freshman class and an honors level junior math class, and wouldn't have it any other way. Love that time of my day, and obviously look forward to baseball practice at the end. So that's me.
All right. Well, thank you for sharing all that. You said that mascot was the Thunder Ducks?
The Thunder Ducks. Yeah. Imagine Daffy Duck with a lightning bolt through his chest. And that's about it. They've updated it a little bit since 2000. I graduated high school in 99. But the Richland College Thunder Ducks, that's right.
Well, that's a good story. Well, congratulations on becoming the head baseball coach at Little Rock Catholic High School. I know you're excited about that. Tell us a little bit about your vision for the Rocket baseball program.
Yeah, so, I am incredibly fortunate. Mr. Stracely, Father Fred, and the rest of the administrators here at Catholic, we don't have to work hard for our vision in the classroom. It's provided for us by the 91-year history of this incredibly good high school in Little Rock. And my hope, my plan is to be an extension of that. We've shared some core values with our players, and that ultimately wraps up what our vision is. That is an acronym, CITS, and that's Captains in Training. I'm sure we'll expand on this a little bit, but Captains in Training to me is, I've never been a fan of electing captains going into the season because you're setting kids up possibly for failure. You're telling them that with no real experience under your belt, here's the things we'd like you to accomplish as a player, a student, a person. The reason for this is I don't think players should be elected captains at the beginning of the season. So we're going to be in training as the year goes on, and it's going to be players that are selected by their teammates, by their coaching staff, and ultimately those who embody our core values the best at the end of the season will be voted captain of our team, or maybe captains if it's a close vote there at the end. We haven't settled in on a number by any stretch, but if there's more than one, that would be great. But it's something that I think gives the kids something to strive for as the season goes on. Not just everybody wants to win the state title. I mean, there's 16 of us in what we now call 6A baseball. Everybody's goal is to win the state title. Ultimately, we're building young men. and baseball is our avenue after the school day. And we would like them to embody our acronym CITS, captains, there's the S, in training.
I like that. I like that. And so your approach is not to elect the captains at the start of the season. It's to figure out who did the best job along the way and elect them at the end. I think that's a unique approach, and I really admire that. You mentioned that CITS as the acronym. Talk a little bit more about those core values and what those mean to your baseball program.
Yeah, perfect. Like I said early on, we're an extension of Catholic High School. That vision is clear. It is on display, I believe, all the time with our faculty, with our administration, and with our student body. We are dealing with obviously teenage boys, and so there's moments there where we all lack the perfect Catholic High embodiment of our mission, but we have clarity on that. And so for the baseball team, it's a little bit of our own and a little bit of Catholic High's. The C stands for compete. And to me, compete can be defined a bunch of ways. We say to strive or to strive to gain superiority over someone else. Now, I don't want that to come across as an arrogant way, but we want to come in and we want to be the aggressor. We want to be tougher than you. We're always hunting. Our competitive nature is better than our need to win. So we would rather have someone who hates losing greater than their love for winning. And so, and ultimately, we ask our players this question when it comes to compete, and that is, if you knew you were going to lose the game, would you play anyway? And if the answer is yes, you're a Rocket baseball player. If the answer is no, I'm afraid you're part of the majority. And if it's only warm and fuzzy for you when you win, we're just not going to win them all. And so I'd rather have someone ready to come compete. That's the C. The I stands for intensity. And we define intensity this way, wave after wave. That life's number one lesson is when you get knocked down, to have the ability and the want to get back up. And that's going to happen over and over and over again. And if 2020 didn't show us that, I don't know what will. But the ability to get knocked down but get back up is our version of intensity. So for Pixar fans out there, that's Dory. Just keep swimming. Just keep swimming. So on the practice plan on occasion, I'll just put a picture of Dory, and the players know what I'm talking about. But wave after wave, they just keep coming all the time. The T and the S are kind of the extension of Catholic High, and that is together. That alone we are ordinary, but together we are extraordinary. That allows us to take ownership of our program. It's not the players playing for me. It's not me coaching for Catholic. We're in this together. And so we're going to take ownership. And we take the approach that you may get us out in the first, second, and third inning, and you may get our best hitter out, and you may get our worst hitter out. But ultimately, you're going to have to kill us all. And so we are together in our approach. And at Catholic High, we call that brotherhood. And if you know anything about Catholic High and the all-boys school that we are, the brotherhood is probably the most mystical thing about our school. But if you're here, you know what it is, and it's quite the experience. And then lastly is serve. True leadership is absolutely about being a servant. I tell the players my job is to be there for them, not them be there for me. I'm here for them, and they are here at Catholic for each other. Ultimately, we'll all be here for one another, but that service is going to be to junior deputy when we work camps. That service is going to be to our school when we run our Rocket 5K, and we're going to run a water station or get some teams together and run and kind of generate some interest that way, and do what we can on campus to volunteer when we're able. When COVID goes away, do that out in the public as well. But, we're very fortunate here at Catholic. We have a lot of things that people would like to have of their own. And our ability to give back, quite frankly, is pretty incredible. So we're about to start a canned food drive here at school, and I have no doubt we'll set some records this year just because of the challenges we've set forth to our players. But compete, intensity, together, and serve is ours. And John 15:13 says, "Greater love has no one than this, to lay down one's life for your friends." And we don't want our teammates dying for one another. That's not what that means, but to serve each other, to serve your teammates, to serve the classmates in your hallways. If you can do that, if you can look to your left and right and help somebody, we encourage our guys to do that.
Well, great description of those core values. Very impressive. Compete, intensity, together, and serve. Thank you for elaborating on that for us. one thing you mentioned was service, right? Or serving and service. And Catholic High has been a great partner to Junior Deputy in the past, helping out with our fall ball, fun ball program for 4 and 5-year-olds. It's such a great experience for those little kids to see those big kids. And they really look up to them and kind of treat them like role models. So thank you, Coach Jones, so much. And thank you, Catholic High Baseball, for helping with that program in years past. We're very hopeful that we'll be able to have that program again in fall of 2021. When you host a youth baseball camp with very young players like fall ball, fun ball, what are the skills you are trying to work on with those players?
Yeah, we tell our guys every day in practice, we devote a lot of time to catch play. Every baseball play, once you get out of machine pitch, right, or off T-ball, starts with a throw and ultimately ends with a catch. And if you can't do those two things well, you're going to have a long season. There's no doubt about that. Those skills are built starting at 4 and 5 years old, and they're not perfected by the time they're 14, and that's just an impossibility. Major League Baseball players spend time on catch play. You go listen to a few podcasts, watch a few videos. They devote serious time to the same things that a 4 and 5-year-old does. The teaching points, the talking points are more specific. The attention to detail is much greater. And obviously their ability to perform it at a much higher speed and a lot more strength is unquestionable. But it's the same type of stuff. We would like to see these guys learn how to play catch, and not just for the sake of warming up. For years, warming up was all catch was. Again, every single baseball play starts with a throw and ends with a catch, unless it's a home run. And I hope I'm on the positive end of that, not the negative end. So, but that's a rarity. Even though there's more of those now than there used to be, every play starts with a throw and ends with a catch. And so we'd spend a lot of time on that at camp. We spend a lot of time on that in our practices. And we would encourage any young player at Junior Deputy or otherwise to do the same. And not to get too sentimental here, but I can remember sitting in the movie Field of Dreams with my father when Kevin Costner had a catch with his dad. And I was very young, and I looked over and saw tears going down my dad's face. And but to now I have my own son, and that means something to me. So playing catch is a relationship thing as well. Your throwing partner in high school is something you'll remember forever, because you tend to keep the same one until one or both of you graduate. So it's part of that relationship thing as well. So catch play and playing catch is a big deal.
And you went ahead and kind of answered the next question I was going to ask you, which is, it's very interesting, right? Those skills that you work on at 4 and 5, those are the skills that scale, right? And you're always working on those regardless of what level of play. And so thank you for mentioning that when they're 4 and 5 and 6 and 7 and you tell them, hey, we got to go throw, you see some shoulders shrugging and eyes rolling, but that's what they're going to do when they get to Little Rock Catholic High School, isn't it?
That's right. Yeah, if you tally up the amount of minutes, I would imagine Hank Aaron hit in his career, or Pete Rose, it is far less than the amount of minutes he spent on defense. And so, playing catch and catch play in general is a huge part of baseball at all levels.
Agreed. In past years, Catholic High has hosted summer youth baseball camps. Hopefully you guys will be able to do that again in summer 2021. Obviously we're in the middle of a pandemic and you got to be able to do that safely. But what do you do to make those camps fun for the players?
Yeah, we've again been very fortunate, thanks to people like Junior Deputy helping us get the word out, in our parochial schools, in our own Catholic school system, having over 100 kids the last several years until the pandemic got us. And you've got no option but to make that fun. Otherwise, what are you doing out there? And so I'll tell you, the biggest thing that helps is getting our kids to work that. One of my favorite things about going down to Junior Deputy is looking at those banners along the fences and seeing a lot of names that I know. And our kids would be lying to you if they didn't say they enjoyed that part of it as well. And introducing those kids at camp, the high school kids, to the younger players, they see their names too. And those that register, it starts to make a lot of sense that they were once where I am. But to make things fun, we have games every day. There's always competitions to be had. I know Coach Moore from Central, when he was on here, talked about playing games, and all of us want to compete. It is in us to want to win. But at the end of the day, I don't have many bad memories from dodgeball in sixth grade. They're all good. And I didn't win every day, I have no doubt, as much as I'd like to think I did. Competing is really what that's all about. And so we find ways to let those little guys compete and show off their skills and learn some skills. And we try to find a variety of things to where the same kid's not going to win every time. Just because you're the biggest or the strongest doesn't mean you're going to win every game we play, because baseball is not always about that. So we're going to do our best to keep things light. We're going to have music going in the background. Our high school kids are encouraged to goof around with those guys. It is not a serious environment. We want them to learn baseball, but ultimately, we want them to stay in baseball. The longer they're in it, the more they can help themselves. And quite frankly, the more they help us when they get to 9th through 12th grade. So staying in the game as long as possible is the goal. I tell seniors every year, play college baseball or don't, but I promise you 4 more years of playing is 4 more years of not. And that's my opinion, but I believe it to be true with all my heart. So.
Well, it's interesting. Again, you're the third guest we've had on this this series, and every coach has encouraged kids to just keep playing, right? And you mentioned keep swimming. That's kind of the thing. The longer you play baseball, the better chance you have to continue playing baseball, right? Once you stop, it's very hard to pick it back up.
That's correct. Yeah. I think I would have to imagine the reason that all 3 of us have mentioned that is we've seen the landscape change. We've seen the landscape change of a lot more games and a lot less practice over the course of the way summer ball seasons have shifted, especially for the older kids and whatnot. There's some pros from that, no question. And there's some cons from that. You know, you talk about kids shrugging their shoulders when they got to go play catch. I mean, just the idea of practice is hard for some people, and situations, and everybody wants to see that ball jump off the bat. You know, if we're playing golf, we all would rather use the driver than the putter. But it's those details that keeps people coming back, and the desire to compete. If you're good at those and you practice those, ultimately you're going to be a better player and keep coming back. So the burnout of younger players is real. That's where parents can play a huge role, in my opinion. But yeah, it's huge to keep them in the game.
All right. And you mentioned burnout and keeping kids interested and entertained and wanting them to come back. What do you do to make baseball fun for your high school players at Catholic?
Again, it's similar to camp. We're going to play some games. We're going to have some fun. We're going to on occasion get out there in the football field and play some ultimate frisbee. We're going to play some basketball. You know, I am a huge believer that if you can play multiple sports, you should for as long as possible. Medically speaking, we're seeing this specialization go the wrong way for a lot of injuries. And I would encourage kids at junior deputy, and again, anywhere else out there that might stumble across this video, play basketball and football and baseball and soccer and anything else you can do, whether it's organized with the team or at home with friends or in your cul-de-sac or whatever. Just play as much as you can. Ultimately, again, that's going to keep that hunger for competition strong. And so at baseball practice, we're going to do the same thing. We want to encourage kids to be athletic. And so if we can help that, we want to. So we have a snowball derby at Christmas where we hit some white smush balls, and it's an indoor home run derby where the kids dress in ugly sweaters. Or a couple of years ago, we had a kid in a full-on Christmas tree outfit. I mean, had a hula hoop at the bottom, and we give awards for best costumes and things like that. So, you know, just trying to keep it light. It doesn't matter how old I get. These kids on this campus keep my age bracket down, and for that, I am forever grateful. Nobody would tell you in the hallways that I'm the most mature teacher on campus, and I would wear that as a badge of honor, to be honest, because if I can't keep up with these guys, I'm going to lose touch, and I refuse to do that. So music's going to be played. Games are going to be fun. We're going to joke around and kid around and prod each other, because we're all trying to accomplish the same thing, and that is get better. Right. And it can't always be, again, about winning the state title. One team out of 16 is going to do that at our level. And we hope we're competing for that. We hope we're close to that. But it just takes one game, the way our playoffs are set up to go sideways and your season's over. So everything else is going to be a little more important than that.
Completely understand. Great insight there. Let me ask you kind of a 2-part question.
Yeah.
We have a lot of little league and senior league players at junior deputy who aren't that far away from high school baseball. So can you tell us what those players need to do to get ready for high school baseball? And then also kind of discuss what the evaluation process is for players trying to make the Little Rock Catholic Rocket baseball team.
Yeah, absolutely. I said it earlier. I would say the first thing is, can you catch? Can you throw? That starts and ends every play, like I've said a couple times, and I believe that to be true. I heard Coach Moore from Central say this. My dad was not a coach, a high school coach, but we threw more than anybody I knew. Play catch as often as you can. The better you can get at throwing that ball where you want to, when you want to, and throwing it hard is important. I did a camp. So I used to do a lot of camps in my younger years before I had my own children. And I was fortunate to do camps with some great coaches. One of those was a man named Derek Johnson, who was Vanderbilt's pitching coach when they had David Price and were kind of just getting on the scene as a high level SEC baseball program. And I asked Derek, I said, what do I tell a 12-year-old? What do I tell an 8-year-old? What do I tell their dad about throwing hard? Because you got these guys at Vanderbilt, you got weights and all that. And he said, I'll tell them what I tell my 6-year-old. And this was at the time he had a 6-year-old. He said, every time you pick up that baseball, you throw it as hard as you can. And he said, we'll worry about where it goes later. And he said, I can teach a hard thrower how to pitch. I can't teach a pitcher how to throw hard. Now, obviously, he's dealing with superior athletes, but I promise you, most of those athletes had one thing in common before they got there, and that is they were throwing pretty hard. I don't think Nolan Ryan grew up taking it easy on his arm. I think when Nolan Ryan played catch, he and his buddy were playing burnout constantly, and I don't know that to be true, but I believe that to be true. So play catch, play it often, and play it hard. Play it with intent, not just go out there and flip the ball around. Not much intent there. When you swing the bat, swing hard. We ask our kids, how hard should you swing? And they'll give you numbers. No, you swing as hard as you can, as long as you can. Sorry, I got a bell going off. Swing as hard as you can, as long as you can stay balanced and make consistent contact with the ball, and you don't really ever know how hard that is until you do it. And so, again, that's the intensity that we're looking for, to just keep coming, and just keep working. Have some grit there, So I would encourage them to play a lot of catch and swing a lot of bats. And when they do it, have an intent. Because if you go out and make 50 throws with no intent, I would have rather you made 10 with intent. And so that would be my opinion on that. And those guys are getting close. And so, it's never healthy to shut your arm down for a long period of time unless you've got an injury, obviously. So staying active year round, play basketball and then go out and play catch a little bit, play football and go out and play catch a little bit, to try to stay active in all the sports you want to play, in a healthy manner as often as you can.
Thank you for that. And you talked a lot about some things that are near and dear to my heart, right? Which is deliberate practice, right?
Right.
And kind of the old adage, and I'm just as guilty of this as any youth baseball coach, is you go throw to warm up, right? And the newer mindset is let's warm up to throw.
Correct.
And we're certainly going to try to implement that more with teams at junior deputy. And maybe we don't need to practice as long. But we're going to practice with higher intensity, with more focus. So thank you for kind of reinforcing some of those thoughts, Coach Jones. Tell us how we can follow Catholic High Baseball, social media, come to games. How can we do that?
Man, we would love to have as many people as we can get at Lamar Porter. We are fortunate. We play in the oldest active field in the state of Arkansas, Lamar Porter Field, 7th and Johnson, right next to the Billy Mitchell Boys and Girls Club, built in 1936. Much of it is unchanged. If you've never been out there, we'd love to have you. There's no better place in Arkansas to watch a high school baseball game than Lamar Porter. It is a neat atmosphere. It feels like you might be in 1936. There's been some updates, Jay Rogers and the crew over there that allow us to rent the facility and do what we can to upkeep it. That's a great way to find us. Now, when do we play and whatnot is a question you can get answered at www.lrchs.org. And that's Catholic High's website. Our schedule's on the baseball page. We are active on Twitter at Rockets_BSB. Coach Owen, my assistant coach, our pitching coach, loves sending a GIF every now and again and being active on social media. I'm told we have an Instagram page. I don't have that one yet. I'm maybe a little old school there. I'm still pretty new to Facebook. But we do have an Instagram page, and I've got a cheat even. I think it's I think it's LR_Rockets baseball or something, but I'm sure you can search for that. But we're pretty active on that. We let our 2 team managers, who are, in my opinion, the MVPs of our program, they handle the Instagram for us. And so we're out there, and we've got an open house coming up here at Catholic, where we're going to have a baseball table set up with some information if people have questions and they've got incoming 9th graders. We would love nothing more than to talk about our school and our program. So that's a couple ways you can reach out and follow us.
All right. Thank you, Coach Jones. In closing, congratulations again on becoming the head baseball coach at Little Rock Catholic High School. I know you're very excited about that, and we could hear that excitement in your voice today. So good luck in this coming season. And we really look forward to welcoming you and the Catholic High baseball program back to junior deputy for our fall ball, fun ball program, hopefully in fall of 2021. And then as soon as you guys know more about your summer 2021 camps, please let us know. We'd love to get as many players out there as we can. So thank you so much for your time today, Coach.
Yeah, absolutely. Hey, thank you for the opportunity. Anybody can reach out to us via email or Twitter. We're going to get back to you just as soon as we can. We're here to give back in any way. So we look forward to next fall working with junior deputy again. And if anybody out there needs help from us, or just reach out and find us, we'll be here.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Have a great day.